I believe in promptness, so we'll go ahead, but the waiting room is open, so anybody who joins us will be able to come into the room. Welcome to our webinar. My name is Sheila Gold. I am the Executive Director of Recruitment and Admissions for Tulane School of Professional Advancement. And I am joined by my colleague, Ann Conlon. She is in the back running the show, making all the magic happen. Feel free to, in the chat, say your name and where you're calling in from and what you're interested in studying. I'm always curious to know sort of who's with us this evening. Also, if you have any questions, you can go ahead and put them in the chat. Just because you put them in the chat, Jared, welcome from Dallas. Just because you put them in the chat does not necessarily mean we're going to be able to answer them. Some questions are a little lengthy or just like too much to answer in a big group. But if you put them in the chat, we will capture them and follow up with you via email. We've got Bryna from Opelousas, Tori from Baton Rouge. Welcome. We appreciate if everybody will just sort of put where they're from. Folks are interested in the MPA, lots of MPA tonight, and then a few other African studies. Okay, well, others just feel free to put your name in the chat. Florida, another MPA. I am also originally from Florida, so shout out to the state of Florida. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. This webinar doesn't take a terribly long amount of time, but we do appreciate you all joining us, especially at the end of what I'm assuming has been a long day. So we try to be respectful of people's time and say thank you for joining us. So just a little bit about the School of Professional Advancement. Tulane University is made up of 10 different schools, one of which is the School of Professional Advancement. We were actually we were the third school to be founded at the university, and we were founded with the explicit mission of offering a Tulane education to non-traditional students. And when we say non-traditional students, we mean students other than sort of the traditional 18-year-old right out of high school who goes and pursues an undergraduate degree. We have a long history of providing a Tulane education to working adults, and we cater a lot of the way that we work and operate to adult learners who need different things than a full-time undergraduate student or graduate student might. We offer some flexibility. We offer the ability to maybe take a semester off and come back, or maybe just take one class a semester. So we'll talk a lot more about that. But we do we've developed our programs with working professionals and folks who have other responsibilities, like taking care of family members and other things on their plate other than just education. So we'll talk a little bit more about that tonight. So just a little bit of a way to orient you to the School of Professional Advancement, or SoPA as we call it, and we'll refer to it this evening. That building in the top right is the Richardson building. That is the building where our administrative offices and our advising offices and many of our faculty are located on campus. The picture right underneath it with the big mural that says "Where You Belong" is one of the open spaces that's available to our students to come and kind of hang out if you're on campus. That mural was actually developed and painted by some of our digital design students. They're very creative, and they came up with that as a logo for a class project, and we were all so blown away by it that we actually had them painted on the wall. We have actually Go Cups with the logo on it. So hopefully you will come if you're on campus and come see it in person. And then a few other pictures of the campus. The historic streetcar goes right in front of the campus, and so that's a picture of that too. So just a little bit. In front of you is a picture of what we very much hope will be what your diploma will look like when you graduate. Oftentimes people will say, Is the School of Professional Advancement a Tulane degree? Absolutely. SoPA is one of the schools that makes up the university. This will be exactly what your diploma looks like. It will say Tulane University with the name of the school, School of Professional Advancement, and then your name and the degree that you received. So we like to say Tulane programs, Tulane faculty, and Tulane degree. So in this webinar, we're going to discuss our programs and our faculty, how we feel like they're a little bit different from other schools in a unique way that serves our students, our learning experience, and also how I feel like that's a little bit different and benefits our students, all the different ways that we offer support to our students, and then we'll talk a little bit about some scholarships that we offer, and the application process. At the end of that, I will share my contact information, and if you have any questions, you can feel free to send me an email and follow up, and we can continue talking about specific questions that you may have. So a little bit about our faculty. So all of the faculty at the School of Professional Advancement are what are called professors of practice. So what does that mean? That means that all of our faculty actually do what they teach. So you're being taught by professionals in the field that you are studying. And we do feel like that gives our students a competitive advantage because they're learning about the actual industry that they're studying in a real life way. Also, all of our curriculum is developed by faculty members who know what students need in order to get hired in the workforce right now. So let me explain a little bit more about that. Ashley Hand teaches in our Masters of Public Administration program, and she is the Director of Communications for Kansas City. So she works in public administration right now. So when she talks to our students about governmental relations, she's speaking from current day experience. Same thing for Derek Bose. He is the former administrative officer for Louisiana's flood protection program. He has to coordinate all of the flood protection for the state of Louisiana. He understands how different parishes work, how different municipalities work, and he brings all that experience into the classroom. Tyra Mitchell is our assistant director for our kinesiology program. She has her doctorate in physical therapy, and she is the former chief of physical therapy for Ochsner, which is one of two large medical systems here in Louisiana. And Ralph Russo is the head of our cyber and IT program. And Ralph is a former NOPD commanding officer, and he actually helped NYPD put together their cyber unit after 9/11. There was no such thing as that prior to 9/11. So when he talks to students about cybersecurity and IT and how it works, he is coming from experience, and those real life experiences are brought to the students in the classroom. Here's a little quote. I know that everybody can read, but I like this quote, so I will read it to you. Amanda Fennell is one of our faculty members in our IT program. She works for a company called Relativity. And she says, as a cybersecurity leader, I feel it's vital to prepare our professionals through practical experience, which is why I incorporate my day job into my classes and nights. And that's sort of the perfect way to explain the difference between the folks who will be teaching you at SoPA and folks who might be very, very good professors and teachers in other programs, but they're theoretical. They're not necessarily teaching you from experience. So we offer two different ways for you to reach your career goals, master's degrees and graduate certificates. So let's talk about what we offer and what those are. Next slide, please. Okay, so our master's degrees are what are in front of you. All of our master's degrees are in the areas that I had mentioned. We have our cybersecurity management, emergency management, homeland security studies, IT tech management, sports studies, masters of liberal arts. And our masters of liberal arts is almost like a make your own masters. You can pick classes from all of the different liberal arts, and as long as you get your 30 credits, you will get your master's. So that's for somebody who wants a very broad exposure to the liberal arts. Our Masters of Public Administration, which many of you said you're interested tonight. Our Masters of Art in Teaching, which is for folks who are interested in being classroom teachers. And then we have our Masters in Education with 4 different emphases: equity-centered leadership, learning experience and design, special ed, and teaching English learners. And the MED is focused a little bit more for educators who want to be an administrator, or maybe a dean or a principal, and maybe want to do a little bit more of the educational leadership outside of the classroom. So those are our master's degrees. We also have graduate certificates, and our graduate certificates are made up of 4 to 6 different courses, depending on the program that you take. And our master's certificates can be taken alone, and you can pursue a very specific, narrow area of knowledge and get a certificate in just that area. Or if you're interested in going further, our graduate certificates can actually be stacked, meaning added to towards a master's degree. So if you get a graduate certificate, you're actually a third of the way, sometimes even a little bit more, towards your master's degree. So oftentimes we'll have students who are like, I only have time for a graduate certificate, and they will stop there. And other students are like, you know what? I'm almost there. I'm just going to keep on going. I've enjoyed the classes and the people that I've met, and I'm just going to keep on going and finish up with a master's degree. So there's 2 different ways to do it. If you start off with a certificate and you decide halfway through you want to keep going to your master's, we do have a process to get you admitted to the master's program, and it's very few steps. We try to streamline it for you. Okay, so let's talk about our different certificates. So the areas of graduate study that we have that we just went through: emergency and security, IT, kinesiology, public administration, and pre-K-12 education, all have these different certificates underneath them. So I'm not going to read them all to you, but if you're interested in any of these certificates, remember that you can go ahead and stack those towards a graduate degree. The only certificate you cannot stack towards a graduate degree is the Cyber Technology Fundamentals, which is a certificate that is specifically for students who are interested in the IT master's program, but don't have any computer or IT experience on their resume or in their educational background. And you can take that certificate, take 6 classes that'll help you get the prerequisites that you need in order to go into the master's program. All right, so as I had mentioned earlier, we do feel like we have developed a learning experience that's different than other schools, and hopefully you will feel like creates a different experience from anything that you've maybe experienced before. All of our master's programs are online. However, we are not a program where you just sort of click through PowerPoints and then like put a couple, responses on a response board, and that's your learning experience. Just because our masters are online, we have developed very intentionally with our faculty members who are called instructional designers, who we have on staff. We have a whole staff of instructional designers, which are master's level educators whose job is to take curriculum and develop it in an online format that is engaging and interactive. So all of our classes are meant to be experiential in some way. Now, you may have a couple assignments where you have to do, put some things in a response journal or write a paper, but oftentimes you will have interactive and engaging types of projects where you will work with small groups. You may get to know your other students very well, just like you would do in an on-ground experience. You will have classes just like we're having now once a month, where you have to log in and actually have a classroom, virtual classroom, but a classroom experience where you can ask questions, raise your hand, be broken down, like I said, into small groups, talk to your professor, get to know your professor. You may have projects where they mimic real world experiences. The MPA certainly has many of those. They may give you an actual problem that is facing a county or a municipality right now, and you may need to work through that project and come up with an end result for your final exam. We also try to engage students in very different ways. So it's not going to be just reading an article or from a textbook and then doing a project. So a couple of the different ways that we do that is we have, here's an example on this slide. We have several professors that have developed virtual scenarios in the metaverse. So you actually would create an avatar for yourself and enter into a virtual landscape where you will have to work through a project, whether it be an emergency and security project or a scenario for the MPA, or maybe a cyber security threat, and sort of work through it and develop your end result as an experience through that virtual metaverse. Another way that we develop curriculum so that students can sort of take it in is several of our faculty members actually have podcasts. And they will have the curriculum in the podcast. So you can listen to 15 minutes of a lesson on the way to work, another 15 minutes of the lesson on the way back from work, 20 minutes of the lesson while you're cooking dinner. We know that our students need to digest the curriculum in very different ways because you are juggling all sorts of other things in your life. So we do feel like our learning experience is different from what you might have experienced in the past, in a positive and flexible way. So some of the other things that we think our students enjoy and find is different about the SoPA experience is that we wrap our students in a lot of support. We're not just interested in having you get admitted to our programs. We want you to get that diploma that you saw a few slides earlier. We want you to get that Tulane diploma with your name on it. And so we're committed to helping you be very successful once you get in. So you will have multiple different advisors. You have an academic advisor that will help you pick your classes, work through your schedule. Maybe you can talk to them about which class you take before another class. Maybe you ask them if you should take one class a semester, two classes a semester. If for some reason you have to, drop a class or take a medical withdrawal, they can help you with that. You also have a faculty advisor. So once again, all of our faculty actually do what they teach. So this person is there to be a mentor. They can help you understand how you can apply what you're learning to the workforce and help you when it comes closer to graduation and finding a job. Perhaps they can introduce you to people they know in the field. There might be 3 or 4 classes that you take that you really, really like, and they can say, well, if those are the classes that you like, you may want to start looking at these different types of jobs because they'll hit your skill set. We also offer our very own advisor for careers. She is there just to work with our students. She does not work with any other students other than SoPA students. And she is there to help you with your LinkedIn, with your resume. She can help you do mock interviews. She also gets job postings from corporations throughout the state of Louisiana, sometimes outside of Louisiana, and we will push those students. Our students probably get job postings sent to them at least once a month. And so employers really want our graduates, and they oftentimes will send us job postings before they even go live on job boards. Right, so let's talk about credit for prior learning. So oftentimes our students have a lot of experience from the workforce that they bring into the classroom. And oftentimes students will have experience in ways that exceeds what they have to learn. And so if for chance you are taking a class and you already feel like you know everything that class is going to teach you because you have been doing it professionally. Let's say it's a grant writing class and you have been a grant writer for 10 years. You do not need to take that class. However, what you can do is you can go to your advisor and say, look, I'm a relatively experienced grant writer. And they'll say, great, let's get the syllabus and all the learning objectives on the syllabus. I need you to demonstrate for me how you already know that. It may be through writing a paper or submitting a copy of a grant that you've already written. Maybe it's having a conversation with the advisor along with doing like a presentation of how you put a grant together, whatever it may be, whatever they come up with. And if you can do that, then you will not have to take that class. You can do that for up to 6 credits, which is 2 classes. So that's a savings of over $7,000. So if there are a couple classes that you're like, I already know that, I do not need to take that, definitely take advantage of the credit for prior learning program. It's a way to save money and time towards graduation. All right, so let's talk a little bit about affordability. So that's everybody's biggest concern, as it should be. Going back to school is an investment. We know it, we respect it, and we do try to work with students to make the program as affordable as possible. We do offer financial aid, and I encourage every student to fill out the FAFSA form. That's the federal form for financial aid. That form is somewhat cumbersome and takes several steps to finish. So do not wait to start that form. As soon as you start your application for admission, I would go ahead and start the FAFSA form if it's open for the term that you're interested in applying for. In addition to federal grants and loans, we also offer the credit for prior learning. So if you could take advantage of that, that is a way that you can save some money. And then there's several other little ways that we try to work with students. If you have college credit from other graduate programs that you feel like you can transfer over, we do have a $1,500 transfer student scholarship that we can offer you $500 over 3 consecutive semesters. So that will help that way. For students who are interested in our Masters of Art in Teaching program, and you're interested in teaching in Orleans Parish, we do have a full tuition scholarship that you can apply for. So if you're interested in it being an Orleans Parish classroom teacher, definitely check out our seed grants. And then we offer multiple 20% tuition discounts for different groups. So hopefully it would be my pleasure if all of you fell into these categories, either active duty or military veterans, Phi Theta Kappa members, K through 12 instructional staff, which means that you're a classroom teacher. If you work for Orleans Parish or are a public employee, if you're an adult over 60, or if you have a degree from a minority serving institution, an HBCU, an MSI, or an alumni of Tulane, or if you are an active or retired safety personnel. Policeman, firefighter, EMT, first responder. So if you fall into any of those categories, we can apply a 20% tuition discount. And if you have questions about those, definitely feel free to ask me. Okay, so our application process is, we feel like relatively easy, but people always have questions, and that is okay. We encourage all students, if you have questions about the application, please email me, and we're happy to help you through it. We like to hear from our students. We feel like one of the things that differentiates us from other schools is that we create relationships with our students. And so we feel like the admissions process is the beginning of that relationship building. So don't be shy. Our application is an online application. It lives on our website, sopa.tulane.edu. There's a big button at the top that says apply. Click that button. And since you are interested in graduate programs, pick our graduate application, and then it opens up into the application. We do not require the GRE, a standardized test, so that is usually good news for many people. We do have a $50 application fee. However, as a thank you to you for taking time out of a long day, I'm sure we actually waive that fee for webinar attendees. If for some reason you have already applied and you have paid that $50 fee, email me tomorrow and I can refund that fee for you. It's a very quick process, so don't be shy about asking that. We are going to need transcripts from every school which you've received college credit, undergraduate and graduates. We prefer electronic transcripts, but if your school only sends transcripts via US Postal Service, go ahead and send it that way. And our graduate application will require several writing samples and a copy of your resume. So those are basically the pieces of the application. But like I said, if you have any questions along the way, go ahead and email me. So sort of our final piece of information is we have 3 semester starts a year. Our spring semester currently just started this week. Our next semester is summer term. That application deadline is May 1. If you're interested in starting in the fall, that application deadline is August 1. And if you're really thinking ahead and you're interested in starting next spring, a full year from now, that application deadline is January 1. Even though those are our final application deadlines, I do not encourage you to wait until that deadline. Go ahead and get your application in as soon as possible. We do read applications on a rolling basis. So as soon as they're completed, we will go ahead and give you an admissions decision. And if you register for classes by the early enrollment deadlines, which you can see in front of you, you will receive a $500 early registration scholarship for your first semester. So that's just an easy way to get $500 off your first semester of tuition. Our next term, like I said, that we're enrolling for is summer. So if you apply and register for classes by April 25th, you will get the enrollment scholarship. For fall, if you register by June 1, you will get the scholarship. And then next year in the spring, if you register by December 1, you'll get the scholarship. So there's no reason not to go ahead and just get your application in, get admitted, and go ahead and get that $500 off your first semester. So that sums up our program. My contact information is on the screen. sgold@tulane.edu is my contact information. There is a phone number. I am never next to my phone. So I always tell everybody, please email me and I can get back to you by email every day. That's a much easier way to contact me. You'll also be getting a follow-up email from me tomorrow. It will also have my contact information and it will have this webinar recorded. So if you want to go back through and look at any of the slides and sort of check out any of the information, you don't have to have committed it to memory. Also, if you have a colleague or a family member that was unable to attend the webinar, feel free to forward the video to them as well. So we appreciate you being with us tonight. Yes, Tulane does have an active partnership with the National League of Cities. You can apply for summer 2024 right now. And Darion, email me directly about the seed grant. There's a lot of information for that I can give to you offline. And I don't know about the graduate certificates being eligible for the 1098, like a master's degree. That's the first time I've been asked that question. I would love to know. So if you find out, let me know. And I can also look into it from my end. Okay. And it should, but it depends on how many classes you take per year. We'll need to check on that. Thank you, Anne. Okay. Well, thank you all very much for coming tonight. And once again, if you have already applied and paid your $50 application fee, please email me and I can refund it. And then yes, if you're interested in scheduling a call, absolutely, I would be happy to do that. Or I can get you, I will connect you with Hope Anderson, who's our admissions counselor, and she can reach out to you also. So we will definitely make sure that you are able. There is no waiver code for the application fee. All righty. Thank you, everybody. I hope you have a great night, and I certainly hope that we will be welcoming each and every one of you as a Tulane student very soon. Thank you. Have a great night.